Hey there, welcome to This Explainer. I am so excited you're tuning in because today we're going to completely dismantle everything you thought you knew about willpower, drive, and discipline. If you've ever beaten yourself up for lacking focus, or, if you constantly wait around for that magical feeling of inspiration to strike before you actually get to work, only to end up, organizing your sock drawer instead, yeah, we've all been there. This is going to be an absolute game changer for you. We're drawing from some fascinating psychological insights to understand exactly how the mind operates. So let's just dive right in and fundamentally change the way you get things done.
Have you ever caught yourself wondering this exact question? I mean, seriously, why is it that you can spend an entire hour completely zoned out, falling down a bottomless TikTok rabbit hole without even thinking twice about it, but the second you try to sit down and focus for just 20 short minutes on something actually important, it feels almost physically impossible. It's like your brain hits a brick wall. It's an incredibly relatable struggle, and I really want to validate that for you right off the bat. Listen, this is not a character flaw. It's not because you're fundamentally lazy, and it definitely isn't because you lack some special gene that successful people have. It is literally just how the human brain is wired to work. You see, inside your head, every single minute of the day, your brain is trapped in this endless, exhausting tug of war between two opposing forces. On one side, we have what feels good right now, that instant gratification, the immediate dopamine hit of a phone notification, or just the cozy comfort of staying in bed. And on the other side, we have what benefits you later, the long-term goals, the studying, the working out, basically all the hard tasks. Now, by default, your brain is biologically programmed to choose that instant gratification. It naturally, instinctively resists tasks that require upfront effort. But, and here is the incredibly good news we're exploring today, you can actually train your brain to cross over to the other side. You can literally train it to start enjoying disciplined behavior. But to get there, we need a major paradigm shift. Which brings us to Section 1, the myth of motivation, and why your emotions fail you. First things first, we need to completely ditch that heavy guilt we all carry around about feeling lazy. We're going to completely reframe how we look at drive. Because honestly, the traditional way society tells us to think about getting things done is just setting us up for failure. We have to accept a core truth that might sound a little provocative. Motivation is a scam. Relying on how you happen to feel on a random Tuesday morning to get your important work done, that is a massive trap. Why? Because motivation is just an emotion. It's a fleeting, totally unstable feeling. And what do we know about emotions? They change constantly. You're not going to feel motivated every single morning. No one does. Systems, however, systems don't change. When we contrast the unpredictable, fleeting nature of our emotions with the rock-solid reliability of a well-built system, everything just clicks. You can't rely on an unstable spark to power your life, right? You need a reliable engine. Which brings us to this fantastic insight. Disciplined people rely more on routines than emotions. This is absolutely crucial. Real lasting discipline isn't about gritting your teeth, clenching your fists, and somehow forcing yourself to feel super excited about a grueling task. True discipline is actually kind of mechanical. It's about building rigid systems and routines that just operate on autopilot, completely regardless of your mood. You want to build a system so strong and so automatic that your emotions don't even get a vote in whether or not the work gets done. So how exactly do we build that kind of mechanical system? Let's get into Section 2, the routine blueprint, or how to trick your brain. We're moving out of theory now and right into action, learning exactly how to bypass that natural resistance. Our blueprint breaks down into 3 core steps. Step 1, make the first step ridiculously small. Step 2, give your brain an immediate reward. And Step 3, decide when and where you'll act. Let's unpack each of these, because let me tell you, when you stack these 3 psychological tricks together, they create an absolutely fail-proof foundation for any habit you want to build. Okay, imagine a massive, daunting goal, like studying for 3 hours. The second your brain processes that command, it creates immediate friction, huge resistance. It just feels too large, like sheer suffering. But what if you swap that out for reading just one single page? That creates almost zero resistance. If you want to start a habit, you absolutely must swap out the massive task for something that is almost impossible to refuse. Tell yourself to read just 1 page, or do exactly 5 push-ups, or simply sit at your desk and work for 10 minutes. These ridiculously small wins literally destroy the brain's psychological barrier to starting. And the real secret here, once you simply begin the task, continuing becomes exponentially easier. You're basically just tricking your brain into stepping over the starting line. And that naturally takes us right into Step 2, establishing a feedback loop. This involves associating your effort with an immediate reward. And here's a fun fact for you. Your brain actually doesn't care how big the reward is, it only cares about how quickly it arrives. By doing this, your brain actually begins to expect satisfaction from the completion of the task itself. Discipline becomes so much easier when your brain links hard work with something rewarding right now. I mean, you shouldn't have to wait 6 months to finally feel successful, right? You need to give your brain a win today. You could track your progress visually, physically check a box on a piece of paper, or just intentionally give yourself a short, guilt-free break the exact moment you finish that small task. By providing an immediate reward, you're training your brain to actually crave completing the task instead of just avoiding it. Which brings us to step 3, and this is your ultimate defense mechanism against relying on motivation. You must decide exactly when and where you're going to act before the moment actually arrives. Why does this specific rule matter so much? Because deciding your actions beforehand entirely removes the need to make choices in the moment, and that saves massive amounts of mental energy. Think about it. If you wake up and have to decide right then and there if you're going to work out, your tired, unmotivated brain is always going to say no. But if you decided yesterday that you will work out at 7 a.m. in the living room, the decision is already made. You don't need morning motivation. You just execute the plan. But look, even the most perfectly planned routine can fall apart. That leads us to section 3, environmental defense, where we protect the system. We don't often realize it, but your physical environment quietly controls your behavior, and it can easily sabotage those brand new routines if you aren't actively managing it. So you've got to take control. Put the phone away, block those distracting websites, and keep your needed tools right within reach. If your phone is just sitting right beside you on the desk, those notifications are constantly buzzing, and endless entertainment is literally just one tap away. Resisting that temptation all day takes a huge, exhausting toll on your willpower. So instead of depending totally on willpower to fight off distractions, just change the environment entirely. Make the good behavior incredibly easy to access, and make the bad habits remarkably hard to reach. The harder a distraction is to access, the less discipline you actually have to use. Simple as that. All right, we're in the home stretch now. Section 4, the ultimate identity shift, moving from doing to being. Everything we've discussed so far leads right to this. The absolute strongest way to build permanent discipline is by fundamentally changing how you see yourself. The old way of thinking says, I need to become disciplined. But man, that feels like a heavy burden, doesn't it? It feels like you're forcing yourself to do something that just isn't natural to you. But the new paradigm is simple. It's, I am someone who keeps promises to myself. When you repeat those ridiculously small actions every single day, you are actively providing the literal evidence your brain needs to believe this powerful new identity. You don't need to be perfect, you just need enough repeated evidence that your brain starts to believe this new version of you. Because true discipline becomes incredibly easy when the behavior just feels like a natural expression of who you are, rather than some chore you're forcing yourself to endure. So the biggest takeaway from all of this? You do not need more motivation. You simply need to train your brain to make discipline feel normal, using the systems we've just outlined. Which leaves us with this vital, slightly provocative question. Now that you know exactly how your brain works and exactly how to trick it into craving discipline, what is the one ridiculously small promise you're going to keep to yourself today? Don't wait for motivation. Pick something tiny, decide exactly when and where you'll do it, and start proving to yourself exactly who you are. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to go out and test this psychological framework right away. You've got this.